Maseches Nedarim Daf Gimel contains one Mishnah, which divides the daf in half. The first half of the daf is discussing finding a Pesach for a Neder based on the difficulty itself in finding the Pesach. The Gemara has already brought that up. The Gemara is going to continue discussing whether that works. The Gemara will show some levels in which it works and some levels in which it does not. And then we'll get to a little Mishnah, which discusses another example of Nidre Zeruzin and takes us to the topic of somebody wants to be mevatel all his Nedarim in advance for the following year, if that works or not, similar to how we do Hataras Nedarim and Kol Nidre. So let's begin the Gemara. The Gemara has already brought a case where two separate cases where it was so hard to find a Pesach for the Neder that it was causing pain to the Rabbanim that were trying to find it, and that itself was the Heter, and that itself was the Pesach. The Gemara now brings another example of that and questions whether it works. The Gemara says Rabbi Shmuel, son of Rav Yosi, had a Neder that he wanted a Heter for. He came in front of the Rabbanon, and they said, did you make the Neder on the das of this? And he said yes. On the das of that, he said yes. He tried a few times, they couldn't find the heter, and there was a washer, a launderer there, and he saw that he was causing aggravation to the chachamim by trying to find this heter, by trying to find the pesach. So he hit him over the head with his washing stick. So he said, I did not make the neder or the understanding that it was going to cause me to be hit over the head with a washing stick. So based on that, that is a Pesach. I did not realize that that was going to happen. That's my Pesach, and based on that, he declared a heter for himself. So Gemara questions, Rav Achami Difti said to Ravina, this is not a Pesach. This is a totally new, unrelated circumstance that you can't say, well, I never would have made the neder had I known this. This is not a outgrowth of the neder. This is something odd that took place, which was indirectly related to the neder. Somebody hit him over the head with a washing stick. You can't say that that's a circumstance he wasn't aware of that was part of the neder, and that should not be a valid heter. That's something called a neilad, something which comes afterward. You can't make a pesach out of a neilad. Someone says no, it's not totally unforeseen. There are people that cause pain to the chachamim. There are people who get upset when other people cause pain to the chachamim, and therefore this is something you could have theoretically foreseen, and therefore it's a valid heter. And then brings another case where it says that Abaye's wife had a daughter, and Abaye and his wife had a disagreement as to who she should marry. He said he should marry somebody from my family. She said she should marry someone from her family. They each made a neder that if she marries someone from your family, it's going to be an Isser Hano. So then she went and she married somebody from her mother's family. And Abaye came to Rav Yosef, he wanted a heter for the neder that he had asked her. So Rav Yosef said, the heter for the neder is, had you realized that she was not going to listen to you anyway, would you have made the neder? Or did you assume that the neder was going to work to make her listen to you? And Abaye said, no, I would never have made the neder. And based on that, that was the heter for the neder. There are more questions if that's really a heter. You make the neder in order to force somebody to do something, and they are not impressed, and they do it anyway. Is that itself a heter for the? Is that itself a pesach for the neder? Nor says yes. If a brisa brings such a story, somebody made an Isser Hana on his wife, if she's Ola Regel, and she went and she was Ola Regel anyway, and came in front of Rav Yosef for heter, and he said, if you would have known that she was not going to listen to you, she was going to go anyway, would you have made the neder? He said no, and Rav Yosef was matir the neder. Okay, now we'll begin the next Mishnah. Here is another example of Nidre Zeruzin. Nidre Zeruzin, we had said, are a type of Nedarim that don't work at all because they are not really something that the person meant. All he meant to do was to convince or force someone else to be agreeable to his position or a little closer to his position, but not something that he meant to do. So we're brings another example. Rabbi ben Yaakov says if somebody wants someone else to eat in his house and that guy is trying to get out of it and he's refusing, so the first one says, I ask you bahana if you don't come and eat in my house. So that would be an example of Nidre Zeruzin. Then the Mishnah adds a line which the Gemara has to explain. There's words missing here. The Mishnah says somebody who wants that none of his nedarim should count should say any neder which I'm going to make is going to be vatal. It's not chal at all. And the only thing is he has to remember that at the time he makes the neder. So the Gemara asks, this entire edition here doesn't make any sense. What do you mean to say? The reason why the neder doesn't work when he says, I want you to eat it in my house, I'm going to ask you bahana if you don't. The reason why that's not going to work is because in advance he said all my nedarim should be bato. So if that's the case, so the way the Gemara asks it, so then he's not going to listen to him because he knows the neder is meaningless anyway, because he already said that it's going to be bato. And the Ran says that's not really such a kasha. It could be that the other guy didn't know he said that, but still the Gemara is implying the reason why this neder doesn't work is because it's a nidri ziruzin, not because he already made it tonight before. So this whole line, it doesn't make sense to be here. So the Gemara says the phrase missing. This is really a separate halacha. It's two separate halachas here. The first halacha is the example of nidrei zeruzin. That is a new halacha. You can make all future nedarim for the year be bato on Rosh Hashanah. You should stand up and say any neder that they make this year is going to be bato, and that's it. All nedarim for the next 12 months are not going to be chal. Now, the Gemara says, the problem though is that the Mishnah says that he has to remember that at the time he makes the neder. The Gemara says the opposite should be true. If he remembers at the time that he makes the neder and he goes and he makes the neder anyway, then that means that he's undoing what he said that all his nedarim are batal. He's aware that he said that and he's canceling that. He's overriding that and he's saying he wants this neder to be chal. This should be only be if he didn't remember. So the Gemara says two approaches to deal with this. Gemara says Abai's answer is you have to change the wording. You're right. If he remembered he made the neder anyway, it cancels the cancellation and the neder is chal. The wording should be on the condition he did not remember at the time of the neder. If he didn't remember at the time of the neder that he canceled it on Rosh Hashanah, then the neder is batal because he already said he's canceling it. If, however, he's knowingly overriding what he said on Rosh Hashanah, then the neder is chal. Now, Rava agrees to that, but Rava wants to make it fit into the old wording. Rava says we could be referring to a situation where he remembered that he made a neder. He remembered that he canceled some of his future neder, but he didn't remember which. For example, he said on Rosh Hashanah, if I aser wine, it's going to be bato. But he didn't remember if he said he's asering wine or if he said he's asering bread. He remembered he asked something, didn't remember what. So now, at the time of the neder, it depends what he says. If he says, I'm making a neder, I don't remember if this is what I asked or not, but if it's what I asked, then I'm going with what I said before. So then he's remembering at the time of the neder and he's invoking his previous cancellation, then it remains canceled. If, however, he doesn't say that, it means he remembered that he made the neder, he doesn't know if this was us or not, and he's not invoking it, then he's overriding it. And then the fact that he did not mention it, which is what the Mishnah calls he didn't remember, that revokes his original condition, his original cancellation, and the neder is chal. The Gemara now says that Rav Huna Bar Chinina wanted to say this over in the drasha to the rabbin. Want to say with this halacha, you should stand on Rosh Hashanah and cancel all your future nedarim. And Rava pointed out to him that the Mishnah didn't spell it out. The Mishnah hid it. The Mishnah had it couched. We had to have chasur mechzer, or missing words. The reason the Mishnah did that is because it didn't want people to be mezalzel, to be kalas rosh with nedarim and go easily making nedarim because big deal, I already canceled it in the beginning of the year. And therefore, he said, don't go ahead and do that because the Mishnah is hiding this halacha.